Good morning. It is finally Friday again, and it is April the 3rd. And I have a few poems that I want to share with you from this book called How We Are Smart. Um, this is a book that is talking about the different ways in which we're smart. Many times when we hear that word smart, we think that it means that I can do math really well or I can do school things really well. And that's what we associate with smart. Good grades equal smart. That's not necessarily true. And this book is trying to show you that smart looks different. And we have another way of saying it is that we are gifted in different ways. And where one person might be smart in a mathematical way, another person might be smart in a nature way, understanding the things around them and being able to respond. Did we see Brian in Hatchet becoming smart as he was in the woods? Yes. Was he doing math? No. But he was becoming smart by recognizing the things around him and adapting to it. And so this book talks about a few people from history and shows the ways in which they were smart and accomplished. And so I chose a few of these people that would be living around the time in history that we are talking about. So they would be growing up during this time when we've been talking about Cleveland and McKinley. Okay, so the first one, her name is Annie Jump Cannon, and here's her picture. And I'll read you the poem. I'd like you to meet Annie, whose lifelong love was studying the stars and the night sky above. As a young girl, she huddled with her mother at night to study the stars and their astonishing light. She went on to college in search of a path. She'd always liked science, especially math. We know Annie most for her quick, keen eye as she sorted the stars by their light in the sky. Yes, Annie was smart, painstakingly exact. Through patience and discipline, she made a big impact. Are you smart like Annie? Okay, and here's a quote. She was an astronomer, and here's her quote. My success, if you would call it that, lies in the fact that I have kept at my work all these years. It is not genius or anything like that. It is merely patience. I like that. And this says she was born in 1863 and she was the daughter of a shipbuilder from Delaware. Her interest in astronomy was sparked by her mother, who taught her about the star constellations. In college, she studied math, physics, and astronomy. And in 1896, so that's around the time period we're studying, she joined the Harvard College Observatory. During the next 40 years, she classified more than 350,000 stars using the technique of spectroscopy, a photographic process that shows the different bands of light produced by stars. She also refined the Harvard College Star Classification System, which is still in use today. In 1931, she became the first woman awarded the National Academy of Sciences Draper Gold Medal. Okay, so that's interesting about her. Okay, and another one I wanted to show you was Matthew Henson. Matthew Henson. Now, if you're looking at the picture, you can tell he's going to be smart in a little bit different way. Okay. Says, do you know Matthew, who loved open spaces, ocean spray, fresh air, and faraway places? He cared not for cities where he never felt free, so he packed up his bags and shipped out to sea. To the top of the world, to the North Pole he went, where ice froze his fingers and wind slashed his tent. But Matthew never faltered. He kept pushing on until he came to that place no explorer had ever gone. Yes, Matthew was smart, so practical yet bold. He braved nature's fury, endured bitter cold. Are you smart like Matthew? Now, a lot of people would see this and say, oh, well, that's not smart. That's something different. No. That's what I want you to get from this. There is not one kind of smart. Okay? Now, this says he was born in 1866, so that's right after the Civil War, to free African American parents. But he was orphaned when he was a young boy, and he went to sea as a cabin boy at 13. For the remainder of his teenage years, he traveled the world. In 1887, Robert Peary, the U.S. Navy engineer, hired him as his assistant, and they sailed together for 20 years, first looking for the best location to build a canal to connect the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, and then searching for the geographic North Pole. On April 6th, so we're not far from the anniversary, on April 6, 1909, after several trips to the Arctic, Henson and Peary became the first explorers to reach the North Pole. And Henson is forgotten a lot of times because he is African American, and Robert Peary gets the recognition. But Matthew Henson was there also. Okay, one more. This lady was born in 1887, and her name is Georgia O'Keeffe. Georgia O'Keeffe. How about Georgia, who right from the start yearned to paint pictures, longed to make art? A sky filled with clouds, a white trumpet flower, a sun-bleached bone, a lonely desert bower. These are the things Georgia saw each day. These are the things Georgia painted her way. Color and form, that's what caught her eye. Color and form and that southwestern sky. Yes, Georgia was smart, sensitive and aware. Her world the inspiration for paintings truly rare. Are you smart like Georgia? I know several of you are good artists, and you like to draw, and you like to paint and look at colors and lines and shapes. And that's the kind of smart we're talking about with Georgia. She was born in 1887 to Irish immigrants, and she grew up on a dairy farm in Wisconsin. She received art and music lessons at home, and she studied in Chicago and New York and taught art in Texas for several years. Then she began painting full-time and exhibiting her work in major galleries. Her paintings were very personal, expressing her own ideas and feelings. In 1949, Georgia moved to New Mexico, where she lived for the rest of her life. Her large-scale paintings of desert rocks, plants, bones, and flowers established her as one of the most important 20th century American artists. Okay, so there's just a few examples to you of people that were born around the time we're talking about. What did their lives look like, to give you more of an idea of the people and the times also, but to also give you an idea that smart looks different. Think about yourself this morning. Think about how you believe you're smart. How are you smart? And don't just think about school things. If you say, well, I'm smart in math, I want you to think about something different. What are some other things where people might not notice or might not think is as important, but can be just as important with who you are going to be and how you're going to make yourself successful? Okay, I hope you're ready for another day of learning, for another day of study, for another day of work, and you get through today and you can have a restful weekend. I hope you all are doing great, and if there's anything that you need from me, if you just want to call and say hi, if you just need, if you have a question, feel free to contact me. I hope you have a wonderful day and a great weekend.